Hey guys, Nico here and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I'm finally sharing with you all how I painted the HG Gundam Dendrobium. So actually, I was able to finish painting this kit like 2 weeks ago, but I was just too lazy to actually edit and upload the video until now. So basically, what I did here was just a simple painting of the dendrobium, just adding some shading and decals just to make it pop out and add a bit more detail. I did not really do any customization since this is a commission and it's such a big kit that adding just simple panel lines will take so long to finish. So yeah, let's talk about how I built and painted this model. So I'm not really used to filming a lot of the building process like the snap building and cutting off the runners and stuff like that. But if you want to see the full content of the box of the Dendrobium, you can check out my unboxing video which I will link down below. So just like with Bandai's model kits, a lot of the parts fits together nicely, actually all of them. The build itself is just very easy and hassle-free. Of course, because this is an old kit from 2002, you have to use a lot of screws just to secure all the parts together. And since this is a pretty big model, I recommend really to just tighten the screws, but not so much that the plastic gets ruined. um yeah, because you really need them to secure a bunch of the parts together. And then it also comes with metal plates right at the center of the model so that the center of gravity is right in the middle, so the model will not be flimsy and fall sideways. But yeah, it's really overall it's pretty nice. You can just build it without any painting, and it's really a great display for your um collection. And of course, considering that this is an old kit, there's a lot of seam lines that you have to remove. I hate removing seam lines. It's just not my favorite thing to do. But since all of the seam lines are right in the middle of the parts, it's such an eyesore, so you really have to remove it if you want it to look as good as possible and if you're painting. And then of course, just like I said, I'm not adding any panel lines on this, but what I'm doing is just rescribing all of the existing panel lines. So this HG Dendrobium actually has a pretty good amount of panel lines already, but some of them are not that deep. So like if you paint over it with primer, with base colors, you may not be able to get a clean panel line over it because it's so shallow. So what I do, just like with all of my other model kits and builds, is I rescribe all of the lines so that when I use panel liner later on, it flows smoothly and with no other problems. So rescribing does take a lot of time because there's a lot of lines, there's a lot of parts that I have to scribe on. But I just really like doing it because it makes the panel lines look so much better, makes it deeper and makes it just look a lot more realistic in a way. But overall, I think from building the dendrobium out of the box, removing the seam lines, sanding, rescribing, it took me a total of 2 weeks or so just to get it ready for painting. But yeah, after that, it's finally time to prep it for painting. So, of course, the first thing you do after all of those is to disassemble it by color, and segregate it so you know which parts are gonna be painted in which colors. And then of course you have a lot of painting bases. You can use cat scratcher boards, cheaper than hobby grade painting bases, and then alligator clips or painting clips. And then for the primer, I'm using industrial grade primer spray can because it's so much cheaper, easier, faster, especially for big builds like this. And then for the painting of the base colors, of course, I'm using water-based acrylic paints. I'm not really gonna go deep into the details on how I painted this because I have a tutorial on Fine Scale Modeler magazine about how I painted this model. I'm not really sure when that will come out, but I will just announce it on my Instagram when it does come out. So yeah, for the painting itself is just simple, airbrushing, and then I did a little bit of panel lighting, which is basically where you highlight each panel line so it gives an unrealistic lighting look to the model, but it makes every detail stand out. It's kind of like post shading but done in a little bit of a different way. And then, of course, I do the hand painting. For the hand painting of the metallics, I'm using War Paints, Fanatics metallic paints. So these are really, really good metallic paints. Like, it's probably my new favorite now to use for hand painting. Like, I don't really do a lot of metallic hand painting, but I have a tutorial on how I hand paint, which I will link down below as well. But yeah, this is a really nice paints to use. You can also use Vallejo metal colors for hand painting, but the formulation is for airbrushing, so it's a little bit more work to use because you have to use a lot of layers since it's thinner, the consistency. And then, of course, after all of the hand painting, so I do hand painting because I don't really like masking. So if I can do hand painting instead, it's what I do. But anyways, after that, you can go ahead and add a protective layer on top. So varnish it before handling. Sometimes I do it, but most of the time I just let it cure for overnight or a day or two before assembling it. So yeah, for after assembling, of course, it's time to add the water slide decals. I like using Delphi decals a lot. It's more detailed, a lot more smaller, a lot more I don't know, I just like the look of the decals, their designs. And I also really like how it's thin enough that it doesn't break apart when you use tweezers, but it's also thin enough that you don't really see it um, embedded on top of the part. Like it looks almost painted on the parts. So yeah, I really like Delphi decals. They're a little bit expensive for decals, but for the quality, I think it's worth it. So I wasn't able to really film a lot of the process of adding the decals because there's a lot of them. But yeah, basically for this one, I used decal softener from Vallejo. So basically, this just blends the decal or melts it onto the part so it looks painted on and you don't see any borders or edges. So people tell me that you only use decal softener if you're adding decal on curved or round surfaces, but I think it's also better to use them on flat surfaces, again, just to melt the edges so you don't see those. But of course, it's up to you if you don't want to use it, if you want to use it. So overall, I think from the assembling and building of the dendro up to the painting and then adding the decals, I think it took me 3 weeks or maybe 4 weeks at most to get it all done, which is reasonable enough. Like, it's not too short, it's not too long a time to be working on a big model like this. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with the results, and I hope you like the reveal at the end of this video. And yeah, that's it for the paint job of the high-grade Gundam Dendrobium. I hope you enjoyed watching this mobile suit come to life with some paint, and if you did, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more awesome painted Gunpla. And if you're new to Gunpla or painting models in general, leave a comment and I'll be happy to answer any questions you have. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon in the next one. Bye!